Hey everyone, welcome to this week's live session. Today's topic is the top 10 cybersecurity threats and how to tackle them. Before we get started, let's wait for a bit as people join in. Thank you to everyone joining us from YouTube and Facebook. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to this live session on the top 10 cybersecurity threats and how to tackle them. If you have any questions, do feel free to leave them in our chat section and we will be happy to answer them. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Now, let's get started. Let's have a look at today's agenda. We will start off with what is a cybersecurity threat, then move on to the different types of cyber threats faced in today's times, and finally end the session by understanding how we can prevent cyber attacks. Before I begin, let me talk about a few real-life scenarios. In 2018 and 2019, the famous American multinational coffee and donut company Dunkin' Donuts announced that it had been a victim of a cyber attack. It stated that it was a case of credential stuffing attack. In such an attack, users' credentials are stolen. In this case, hackers used user credentials leaked at other sites to gain entry to the Dunkin' Donuts Perks Rewards accounts. The type of information available inside such an account includes a user's first and last names, email address, a 16-digit DD Perks account number, and a DD Perks QR code. Here, the hackers targeted the account itself, which they could then sell on dark web forums. In order to prevent such attacks in the future, Dunkin' Donuts asked its customers to set unique passwords that are not repeated. That was all about the cyber attack Dunkin' Donuts witnessed. Just like how the COVID-19 situation is affecting various domains, it is also adversely affecting cybersecurity. Interpol states that attackers are attacking computer networks and systems of businesses, individuals, and big global organizations. Due to the shift of focus to the COVID crisis, cybersecurity is taking a huge brunt. Even WHO has stated that from the beginning of this pandemic, it has witnessed a sky-high increase in the number of cyber attacks. There are fake emails doing the rounds in which scammers are impersonating WHO. Reports also state that the financial services sector is increasingly being targeted during the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. Various banks and financial institutions have witnessed a spike in the number of cyber attacks in the last few months. Several banks are increasing cyber attack awareness amongst their customers and also asking them not to disclose any confidential information to a third party. Now that we have an idea as to how cyber attacks can affect us, let's go ahead and understand the meaning of a cyber threat. A cyber threat is a warning which allows you to prepare against a cyber attack. When there is an unauthorized access by a third party to your system and network, it is termed as a cyber attack. The person who carries this out is termed as a hacker or an attacker or a cyber criminal. A possibility of such an attack is termed as a cyber threat. As we saw previously, cyber attacks lead to data breaches which result in either data manipulation or loss of highly confidential data. It also results in financial losses, and which in turn has a colossal impact on the businesses. In addition to these losses, a lot of companies face reputational damages as well. Trust plays a vital role when it comes to customer relationships. Cyber attacks can hamper an organization's reputation and erode the customer's trust. Let's now get an understanding of the most common cyber attacks. Here, we will look into the top 10 cyber threats in today's times. First up, we have the malware attack. This is a very common form of cyber attack. The term malware refers to malicious software virus including spyware, worms, ransomware, adware, and trojans. Trojan virus is a form of malware that disguises itself as a legitimate software. Ransomware blocks access to the key components of the network, whereas spyware, as the name suggests, is a software that steals your confidential data without your knowledge. Coming to adware, it is also a software, but this software displays advertising content such as banners or pop-ups on a user screen. Malware breaches a network through a vulnerability. It usually happens when the victim clicks a dangerous link or downloads an email attachment, or also when an infected pen drive is used. Let's now have a look at the ways in which we can prevent a malware attack. First and foremost, you should use any kind of an antivirus software. This step might be something that you have heard time and again, but it is a very effective way to prevent a malware attack. Antivirus software is a program that can protect your computer against the above-mentioned viruses. This data security utility installed in a computer can prevent a malware attack. Few of the popular antivirus software are Avast Antivirus, Norton Antivirus, and McAfee Antivirus. Secondly, you should use firewalls. A firewall helps prevent an unauthorized access, viruses, and other malicious activities that occur over the internet. As the name suggests, it acts as a wall between your system and the internet. It filters the traffic that is allowed to enter your device. Windows and Mac OS X have their default built-in firewalls named as Windows Firewall and Mac Firewall respectively. Apart from this, in order to prevent attacks on your network, your router should also have a firewall built in. Thirdly, you should always stay alert and avoid clicking on suspicious links. The links might look to be legitimate, but they can be home to malware which is going to enter your system and cause a havoc. Lastly, it is wise to update operating systems and browsers regularly. If this is not done, cybercriminals can exploit these vulnerabilities and attack your system. That was all about preventing a malware attack. Let's move on to the next attack. It is the phishing attack. It is one of the biggest widespread types of cyber attacks. As per reports, phishing accounts for over $12 billion in business losses. So what is a phishing attack? It is an attack wherein an attacker impersonates to be a trusted contact and sends the victim fake emails. Unaware of this, the victim opens the email and clicks on the malicious link or opens the attachment in the mail. The aim of such an attack is to gain access to confidential information and account credentials. Hackers can also install malware through a phishing attack. This attack is growing bigger each day as attackers are becoming more convincing in pretending to be a trusted source. For example, you might get an email from Apple stating that your Apple account is kept on hold for security reasons, and the mail will ask you to type in your login credentials in order to restore your account. Do not fall for that, as it is a phishing email. Legitimate sources will not randomly send you mails and ask for your account credentials. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack. Social engineering attacks refer to several malicious activities that are obtained through human interactions. It manipulates the victim in such a way that he or she ends up divulging personal information. Such an attack can happen on any platform such as text messages or even on social media sites. Similar to phishing, you also have voice phishing known as wishing. Wishing will be carried out over a voice email or mobile phone or even over landlines. So how do we prevent a phishing attack? Human error is the reason for a high percentage of cyber attacks. To prevent a phishing attack, the wisest way will be to scrutinize the emails you receive. A phishing email will have some spelling mistakes or a format change from that of the legitimate source it is pretending to come from. Look for these loopholes and do not click any such suspicious emails. Next, you can also make use of an anti-phishing toolbar. Sometimes when it is impossible to identify a phishing email, this toolbar is helpful. It is a tool that provides you with anti-phishing solutions and information about the website you are browsing. They prevent fraudulent websites from masquerading as other legitimate websites. For example, Avast Online Security is a good anti-phishing toolbar you can get. You should also make it a habit to update your passwords regularly. This way, even if your own password is known to a third party, it will still be invalid. Let's now move on to the next type of cyber attack, that is the password attack. This is a form of attack most of us might have experienced at some point in time. Imagine when you try to log into an account and it says incorrect password. In such a scenario, it is possible that an outsider has managed to either guess or steal your password. By doing so, all your data is compromised. A hacker can crack your password with the help of various programs and password cracking tools like AirCrack, Cain-Enable, John the Ripper, Hashcat, and so on. There are different types of password attacks. A brute force attack happens when the hacker tries to log in with all possible password combinations. Meanwhile, in the dictionary attack, a list of common passwords is used to crack the user's login credentials. Next is a keylogger attack. Keystroke logging records the keys struck on a keyboard by the victim, and the victim is totally ignorant of this. This keylogger or a keystroke recorder can either be a hardware or a software. Speaking of how one can prevent password attacks, it is crucial that you use alphanumeric passwords which are strong. Incorporate special characters in your passwords as well. It is to be noted that you shouldn't be using the same password for multiple websites or accounts. Also, make sure to not use easily guessable passwords, which includes your name or your family members' names or even your date of birth. Needless to say, update your passwords regularly. This will limit your exposure to a password attack. The next tip is something we should all be careful about. Often we make complicated passwords, and to remember them, we note it down somewhere or keep some sort of a password hint in the open. This shouldn't be done in the open, as this can prove to be a gateway to an attack, as a third party can misuse your account with the help of your password hint. Let's now move on and have a look at the fourth type of cyber attack on our list, that is the man-in-the-middle attack. As you can see on your screens, we have the client on the left, the server on the right, and the hacker below. And now you can see that the client-server communication has been cut off, and instead the communication line now goes through the hacker. So let's elaborate on this. Man-in-the-middle attack is also known as eavesdropping attack. It takes place when an attacker comes in between a two-party communication. In other words, the attacker hijacks the session between a client and host. So what do they gain by interrupting the session? Well, they are able to steal and also filter data. Imagine you are logging into your bank account. In such a state, a man-in-the-middle attack can be used to obtain information related to your bank account. Let's now have a look at how we can prevent man-in-the-middle attack. Firstly, you should be aware of the security of the website you are using, and it is advised to use encryption on all devices that contain crucial data. Using an unsecure public Wi-Fi can help attackers carry out the man-in-the-middle attack. Hence, it is suggested that you avoid using public Wi-Fis to carry out important work. Next attack that we will be talking about is the SQL injection attack. A structured query language, SQL injection, occurs in a database-driven website when the hacker manipulates a standard SQL query. This attack can be carried out by submitting a malicious code into a vulnerable website search box, thereby making the server reveal information. The outcome of this attack is that the attacker is able to view, edit, and delete tables in the databases. In addition to this, the attackers can also obtain administrative rights. An SQL attack manipulates data and accesses confidential information. In order to prevent a SQL injection attack, you should use an intrusion detection system. An IDS is designed to detect unauthorized access to a system. It is used together with a firewall and a router. This way, unwanted requests can be filtered out. The next step is to carry out a validation of the user-supplied data. There are codes that are developed to identify illegal user inputs. The validation process helps in verifying whether or not the type of user input is allowed or not. This way, only that value which passes the validation will be processed. That was all about the SQL injection attack. So now that we have reached midway, I'd like to remind y'all to feel free to leave your questions in our chat section and we will be happy to answer them. Without further ado, let's go back to our list of the top cybersecurity threats. At number 6, we have the denial of service attack. This is a type of attack that proves to be a major threat to companies. In this attack, malicious parties target systems, servers, or networks and then flood them with traffic so as to exhaust their resources and bandwidth. As a result, the server is unable to handle incoming requests and thereby resulting in the website it hosts to either slow down or shut down. This leaves legitimate service requests unattended. It is known as distributed denial of service, DDoS, when attackers use multiple compromised systems to launch this attack. Like I mentioned earlier, the DDoS attack is a major threat to organizations. Let's have a look at one such DDoS attack. In February 2018, the famous United States-based global company GitHub revealed that it was hit with the distributed denial of service attack, DDoS attack. This DDoS attack is considered to be the world's largest DDoS attack. As you might be aware, GitHub is a developer platform used by millions all over the world. Hence, it always has high traffic and usage. But this time, it wasn't just high traffic, but a whopping 1.35 terabits per second, sending packets at a rate of 126.9 million per second. These figures speak for itself. Fortunately, GitHub was running a DDoS protection service which was automatically alerted within 10 minutes of the start of the attack. This attack only took GitHub systems down for about 15 to 20 minutes. GitHub was able to stop the attack quickly only because it utilized a DDoS mitigation service that helped in detecting the attack and which further helped in quickly taking the necessary steps to minimize the impact. Let's now have a look at how to prevent a DDoS attack. Firstly, to stop a DDoS attack, you're required to identify the malicious traffic. This can be made possible by running a traffic analysis. Also, remember to comprehend the warning signs. Few symptoms of a DDoS attack include network slowdown, intermittent website shutdowns, etc. If anything seems irregular and unusual, then the organization should do the needful. Secondly, understand that every organization can face a DDoS attack and be ready with a prevention plan, as there won't be any time to prepare one when it hits. For this purpose, develop an incident response plan, have a checklist, and make sure your team and data center is prepared. If you are well prepared, you can tackle a DDoS attack smoothly like how GitHub did. Lastly, the conventional DDoS mitigation solutions oversize the network bandwidth and require complex hardware, which proves to be costly and also ineffective. Whereas cloud has greater bandwidth and resources. It is also to be noted that cloud-based apps can absorb malicious traffic way before it reaches its intended destination. Hence, it is good to outsource DDoS prevention to cloud-based service providers. That was all about the DDoS attack. Now let's look at number 7, and here we have the insider threat. An insider threat, as the name suggests, is one that does not involve a third party but an insider. It could be someone from the organization who knows everything about the organization. It could be current employees, former employees, contractors, or even associates. These threats have the potential to cause huge damages. Researchers show that insider threats are growing in small businesses as employees have access to multiple accounts that have a lot of data. The individuals who misuse this data can put everyone else at risk. Reasons for such security breaches are many. It can be due to malice, greed, or even carelessness. Such a threat is quite tricky as these attacks are hard to predict. In order to prevent the insider threat attack, thorough preparation is required. Organizations should make sure that they have a good culture of security awareness. Businesses can limit the IT resources a user can have access to depending on their job roles. This way, the damage, if caused, can be minimized. All the employees should be trained to identify insider threats, and this way, employees can understand when an attacker has manipulated or is attempting to misuse the company data. Next up in our list is cryptojacking, which is at number 8. I'm sure most of you are aware of the word cryptocurrency. Cryptojacking is related to cryptocurrency. You must be wondering how. Let's understand what is cryptojacking. Cryptojacking takes place when attackers make their way into someone else's computer to mine cryptocurrency. This is done by infecting a website or by manipulating the victim to click on a malicious link, which in turn loads crypto mining code on the computer. It is also done through online ads with JavaScript code that will auto-execute once loaded in the victim's browser. Victims are unaware of this as the crypto mining code works in the background. The only sign they might witness is a delay in the execution. Crypto mining is a form of obtaining cryptocurrency. Crypto mining by itself is an immense process. That is the reason attackers make use of other computers in order to crypto mine. Let's have a look at ways to prevent cryptojacking. It is advised that you keep all security apps and software updated to the latest versions, as cryptojacking can infect the most unprotected systems. It is also good to have a cryptojacking awareness training and give tips to employees as to how to detect cryptojacking threats. Make sure to inform them about the risks of opening emails from unknown senders and clicking on attachments. Ads are a primary source of cryptojacking scripts. Therefore, it's good to install an ad blocker and also have extensions like MinerBlock, which is used to detect and block crypto mining scripts. Moving on to the number 9 on our list, we have the zero-day exploit. A zero-day exploit occurs after the announcement of a network vulnerability. Usually, the vendor becomes aware of a vulnerability, but a solution to it is still not available for the same. Hence, the vendor announces the vulnerability so that the users are aware of it. But this also makes the attackers aware of it. The vendor or the developer could take any amount of time to find a solution. It could vary from a few hours to days to months, depending on the vulnerability. In the meantime, the attackers target the disclosed vulnerability. They exploit the vulnerability even before a patch or a solution is implemented. Speaking of ways to prevent zero-day exploit, organizations should have a well-communicated patch management process. It is also crucial to use management solutions to automate the procedures. Thus, it avoids delays in deployment. Having an incident response plan helps in dealing with a cyber attack. You need to have a plan primarily looking into zero-day attacks. In case of an attack, this plan will keep you prepared and will allow you to avoid or reduce the damage. Finally, at number 10, we have the watering hole attack. Generally, in a watering hole attack, the victim is of a specific group. It could be either victims of an organization or a region or so on. Here, the attacker targets the websites which are frequently used by the particular group. They identify these websites either by guesswork or by closely monitoring the group. After which, the attackers infect a few of these websites with malware, and anyone who happens to visit the infected website will have their computers automatically loaded with malware. This attack loads the victim's system with malware similar to the phishing attack. The malware in such an attack targets personal information of the victim. There is also a possibility that the hacker will actively take control of the infected computer. Let's have a look at how we can prevent the watering hole attack. Just like most other cyber attack prevention methods, in this attack as well, it is strongly suggested that you regularly update your software. By doing so, you can reduce the risk of this attack, as this attack most often exploits vulnerabilities. Also, make sure to regularly check for any security patches. Make use of your network security tools to detect watering hole attacks. Intrusion prevention systems work finely when it comes to detecting a suspicious act. Similarly, you can conduct regular security checks using various network security tools. To prevent a watering hole attack, it is good to conceal your online activities. This can be done with the help of a VPN and also through your browser's private browsing feature. A virtual private network, often called a VPN, provides a secure connection to another network over the internet. It acts as a cover to your browsing activity. NordVPN is an example of a VPN that can be used to provide a secure connection. So those were all about the different types of cyber threats. Cybersecurity is implemented in order to put a curb on these cyber attacks. Cybersecurity refers to the practice of protecting networks, computer systems, and their components from unauthorized digital access. According to the Gartner forecast worldwide, it is stated that the worldwide spending on cybersecurity is forecasted to reach $133.7 billion in 2022. And according to the University of Maryland, hackers attack every 39 seconds, that is, on an average, 2,244 times a day. Although we had a look at multiple methods to prevent a cyber attack, let's once again have a look at a few personal tips and ways in which you can prevent a cyber attack on the whole. Firstly, it is important you change your passwords regularly, and not only change but use strong passwords that are difficult to crack. Do not have extremely complicated passwords that you would tend to forget. Rather, use a password with at least 8 characters and preferably alphanumeric. Also, keep in mind not to use the same password twice. Next, update both your operating system and applications. This will remove vulnerabilities that hackers tend to exploit. Make use of antivirus protection software as they prevent malware and other viruses from entering into your device. Use antivirus software from trusted and legitimate vendors only. Make sure to use a firewall as it will filter the traffic entering your device. Use other network security tools such as intrusion prevention systems, access control, application security, and so on. Fourthly, as mentioned in the earlier section, don't open emails from unknown senders. Scrutinize the emails that you receive and see where it comes from and if there are any grammatical or format errors. Ideally, it is good to make use of a VPN. By doing so, the traffic is encrypted between the VPN server and your device. This proves to be a protection for your device. The next step is that you regularly back up your data. According to many security professionals, it is good to have 3 copies of your data on 2 different types of media and 1 copy in an off-site location like a cloud storage. This way, even if you witness a cyber attack, you can erase your systems and restore with a recently performed backup. Up next is that you should train your employees in cybersecurity principles. They should also be aware of the various cyber threats and know how to tackle them in case of any emergency. The next one is a crucial step, and that is to make sure to use 2-factor or multi-factor authentication. Normally, while logging in, you would enter your user ID and password. But with 2-factor authentication, users are required to provide 2 different authentication factors to verify themselves. It could be an additional personal identification code or maybe even a fingerprint. When you are asked for more than 2 additional authentication methods apart from your username and password, it is termed as a multi-factor authentication. Thus, it proves to be a better step to secure your account. Make sure to always secure your Wi-Fi networks. The next point is that refrain from using public Wi-Fi without using a virtual private network, that is a VPN. Finally, it is also necessary that you safeguard your mobile, as mobiles are also a cyber attack target. For this purpose, install apps from only trusted and legitimate sources. Make sure to keep your device updated. And there you go. Those were a few of the cybersecurity tips and ways to prevent a cyber attack. So we are now done looking at the top 10 cyber threats and the ways to prevent these cyber attacks. With that, we have reached the end of this video. Do you agree with our list? Think we missed anything important? Let us know in the live chat or in the comment section below if you're watching later. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for more from Simply Learn.